like welcome to it.
And I'd like you to give a big GFF welcome for our director this evening, Mr. Daniel Connolly.
And we have a full house, thank God for that. Now, very quickly, big thank you to the Glasgow Film Festival for inviting us. Thank you for you guys for turning out. And most importantly, I think what you're about to see, one would hope, is a story of Glasgow, by Glasgow, for Glasgow. So I hope I don't let you down. Without further ado, Upside Down. There's a number of things on a number of levels. For me, really, the attraction in making a musical story is that it has to be more than a musical story. It has to be a human story. And we're surrounded, and brilliantly so, by people who adore music and love B-sides and love remixes. That wasn't my thing at all. I was completely fascinated by the human dynamic, by this complete and utter collection of unique, dysfunctional men all in the one place at the one time. And that became very attractive as a storyteller. So that's what got the ball rolling. I hate narrators, I hate presenters. And so I suddenly found people with voices who could tell their own stories. So the way that the film is cut is by the key protagonists telling their own story. So it's the kind of film I would like to think that I could show my parents or my children, and also the most dedicated creation aficionado. I used to work for a sustained period of time with a variety of media organisations. I worked on a Channel 4 programme called The White Room. We were the first people to give Oasis TV. I was the producer of the evening session on Radio 1, and so we were very much at the sort of figureheads really of, you know, what would be the mid-90s and what would be Britpop. So I got to know Alan and the Creation Gang as was at that stage, and so many moons later we bumped into each other and I suggested it and Alan said no, that the time wasn't right, and you know, it was random. It was because I just bumped into it. But then that got the idea going in my own head, so then I approached him again, perhaps a year later, and he said yes. And the minute that I had a tacit yes from him meant that it could actually maybe become something. I mean, the thing you have to understand with creation is, unlike any other media project, any other story, any other documentary, you're starting off with no assurance that you're going to finish whatsoever. You know, there was no undertaking that Oasis would get involved, Primal Scream, Jason Mary Chain, all the others. They're a very angular bunch. So it was a labour of complete and utter bewilderment. But you've got to take these risks at times, and I thought I'd never forgive myself if I didn't run with it. And so what would usually take me a year took me 4 years.
Have you and Alan McGee ever worked on anything previously, or is this your first?
No, we did a radio documentary. I did a radio thing. I used to make an awful lot of radio documentaries for both Radio 1 and Radio 2. And we did a thing for the BBC together, which he liked. And I think really that was the key protagonist to getting things going, because of course he would know me, but he wouldn't know me humanly, personally, and nor should he. So yeah, it's funny, it's inadvertent the way that, you know, you make this work and you don't think about it and then suddenly it resonates with someone. So that got this up and running, and the most nerve-wracking aspect of all of this was Alan had no financial, no editorial impact whatsoever, or contacts none of that. And yet I thought it would be incredibly disrespectful to let other people see the film before he saw it. So that was a long night, and thank God he loved it. So
what gave you the final push to finally get this production?
Just sheer stubbornness and having a fantastic Irish family, and we don't say no. You know, so you know, you kind of journalistically and production-wise, you hold out. You know, I was doing other things. You know, in the time that I made Creation, I shot Franz Ferdinand live in Berlin. I did Kaiser Chiefs, stereo. I did a whole range of different stuff. White Stripes. So I was working on a lot of different things, but this became the difficult child, the labour of love, the one that I really wanted more than anything, because it was difficult.
And what would you say was the highlight of the entire feature?
Finishing it.
And are you working on, are you planning to do another history story on another record label?
No, God, no. No. I've earned my dues now. No. I'm now very firmly. You can't get more rock and roll than Creation, and so now my focus is very much on other expressive artists from other walks of life, primarily both stand-up and poetry at the moment.
What did you think of the film?
I thought it was good.
Tell us what you thought of the film.
I really loved it. I was there for an awful lot of that story in real life, and the film transported me back.
It's a very well-made movie. I liked how they've used old kind of tape to make the film, but the stuff at the end about Sony was upsetting for me.
I've seen it a few times now, and I worked a lot to the music on it, so I knew lots of little bits of it very well, and I think overall it's great. Yeah, I think he's done it. He's nailed the story of Creation Records. There doesn't need to be another film about it. It's done. Yeah, he did a good job.
Are you very pleased with the film?
Yeah, it's great. Danny O'Connor's done his proud. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Really enjoyed it. It's fantastic. It's great.